Good evening, all, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP, and joining me tonight on this Monday dial-in, my two good men. We're back as a threesome, boys. I don't know if you can say that on a Monday night. I don't know if it needs to wait to the weekend or one of his channels, you know what I'm saying? But yes, we're back as a trio tonight, and we have got some calls coming in also. It is Monday. Celtic won 3-1 at the weekends. Good evening, Alan. I hope you've had a lovely weekend, mate.
Aye, all good. Very good to get another good result. Some decent parts of the game. Outstanding performance from my fanboy, Mr. Rio Hitati. Anybody that ever doubts Rio Hitati again, please put the spoon down and step away from the pedigree chump. Right? Stop eating that, because it just proves it time and time again that the guy's just quality. There were a few good performances, including Real, but rightfully he was man in a match. But after going down a goal, I think it was a great response. With most of the possession, shall we say, in regards to the game, and maybe wasteful at times, but I think the majority of the time we kind of looked pretty decent. So yeah, all good, and looking forward to the last few games of the season upcoming. I hope you are well, and I hope everyone that's watching is well.
Yes, and as Alan says there, Ryan, it is a big week for the champions, mate. We are about to be fully crowned champions for the fourth time in a row. Again, we seem to be hitting these numbers right out of part all the time, mate. But hope you're well, mate. It's good to see you, and I hope you've had a nice weekend.
Aye, all good, mate. Obviously, a day job party weekend as well, but it's been nice, mate. Nice bit of weather, so out and about today, mate. And I'd like to think it's hopeful that this the rest of the week, and just in time for, like you said, the trophy on Saturday, mate. It's always a nice sunny day at Celtic Park. Normally, when Celtic lift the trophy, and I don't want to talk too soon, but it's normally a really good performance as well. They normally go out in the high. I think the last few years have it out me like 3-4 nothings, and it's been dominant, and it's a party atmosphere. So hopefully that can continue on Wednesday as well. But I've got a wee sneaky feeling that there'll be a few, if you want to call them fringe players or youth players playing on Wednesday. But we obviously will touch on that, mate. But I am good. Like Alan says, it was good to get a result for the 1-0 down, sorry. And it doesn't matter if you win the league or not, you come back from 1-0 down. It's good character. So all in all, it was a good performance. A game, like you said, Alan Rio Tati. He can be, shall we call it, a bit of enigma. 1 minute he's 2 or 3 games.
Don't do that, you'll upset him. Don't.
No,
it's what I've been saying all the time, right? He's a risk reward player.
No, 100%. No, listen, you're spot on.
He pull off the incredible. It's not always going to happen.
But
when it does, he's a special
no, player. Listen, Alan.
He's a risk taker, is what Alan's saying, but he's also a piss taker, is what some fans would say.
No, listen, he's fantastic. But I think there will be a decision in the summer. What happens? Does he stay, or did he cash in, because he is getting to an age potentially now where I think even the manager says it in presser, where will him or Dizan at their age, will they become assets for other clubs money wise? So in Celtic eventually,
what is Hitati, Ryan? Is he 27?
He's roughly the same as Maeda. Roughly, I think they're all around about the same age, aren't they? So
Maeda's not 27. He's younger than that.
Aye, he is. He's 27.
No, it's not about that.
Is he?
Aye.
24 or something.
Roughly, mate. Aye. So Celtic.
Maybe he just runs like he's younger. I don't know.
As much as we want quality players to stay and progress the club, JP, we've, as much as we have got money behind us, that might not always be the case, and you need to, as my old man always says, you need to sell when iron's hot. We've done it with Edward, we've done it with Aya. You don't want to do it, but sometimes if the club's going to get money off it.
That's what you said as well when Edward gets sold, Aya.
I know, Aya. So, but all in all, like Alan says, good performance, mate. It's always good to be back on winning games and winning trophies, mate.
I didn't know if he says Aya. Was it no the other centre half, the one for Brazil? Is that not the word they used?
Aye. Raphael,
the next bit, aye.
I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that word, by the way. That's
do you know, by the way, that isn't actually how you pronounce that name. I learned that swiftly after he'd left us by that point, but everybody had given him his name, as we all know what that was, and Apparently,
Yeah,
that's
did he? Was that it? Is
how
that how
well.
you
Did
pronounce
A
it?
few
Yeah,
na-
did he?
there's a few names for a Glaswegian slang, but apparently in Brazil, he was pronounced something else.
a lot
I'm
of
not
words, I
going
think.
probably.
What part
Aye.
of
No, that was
Brazil do
just
you
when he
think he's
left here.
from?
That was, by the way, that was on his. See when you get your luggage tickets and you put it on your case and your case goes down a belt. You ought to seen a big. It was like a roll of toilet roll for him. The amount of names he was called. But
Just put it on Lewis Palmer's suitcase. The one with his face on it.
the one that he's got his own personalised.
Aye.
He FaceTimes himself with his suitcase.
Aye.
Brilliant, man. Just sits and talks to his case on the way. So I think Kilo Honlog, he's one. He goes on the plane with Ryanair. How you doing, Lewis? All right. Just sits there and has a wee gab. Forgot his headphones that day. As the lad said, folks, good evening to everybody that is joining us. Hope you're all well. Hope we're all enjoying this sunny weather that we're getting here in Glasgow. And Jem in first with the comments tonight. Evening, JP, Ryan Allen, and the chat. John Shirley, I don't know if John must have set his alarm clock tonight for this one.
Yeah,
It's
big
good to see.
dog.
Well, listen, I'll take that. It's Monday. We're into a new week. New things happen all the time. What is it to say, John? It takes one to know one. No, come on now. But cheers for joining us. Scott Melville, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Chris Money, good evening, boys. And
brilliant.
the chat. Plunge is in as well. Good evening. Hope you are well. James Kennedy joining us as well. Ryan Moore, good evening, legends. Is that Kaiser's cousin? Usually that's the word he uses, isn't it? He's either that or he's got the same set of AI tools for a script sitting beside him and he's typing there. Stevie's in, I know. He says, good evening, champions. Hail. Pat's in as well. Congratulations to Rangers on their award. We're definitely not doing that on here tonight, mate. That's strike one for you. So keep yourself clean tonight in these chats. So, big question is, I've seen a comment there. Will anybody be heading to Merchant City at the weekend, guys? Are we? Be doing it? No.
I don't know if that's been overplayed a bit now, to be fair. It was good to first year and all that, but
it's going to be interesting this Saturday, especially when you've got a certain walkout in the same day as us. So
they'll all be on budget food or something, you know what I mean? So just that's all right.
I don't know. See, to be fair,
I don't know if it's a bit overplayed. It's a bit.
I'd rather go to a pub and just enjoy it with the fans in a pub and have a good laugh and because. Listen, it's going to be full of young teenagers probably that have probably never been to a game in their life as well, by the way. But people just going out to just celebrate and get drunk, and there'll be people that probably have not been to a game for years as well, but they're going to Merchant City and stuff like that. So for me, it's not for me, JP. I'd rather go to a pub or go to the game than get home. That's it. It's no.
Yeah.
I think Alan's right.
Through bus stops and all that. The last couple
I think Alan's right. It's been overplayed. I think if we're going to do something like that, then Celtic and the SFA and the government, I know the government, we don't want them involved in football, but for safety aspects, they need to organise a fan zone. If whoever wins the league that season, if it's Aberdeen, Celtic, whoever it is, Rangers, whoever it is, make a fan zone in Scotland or Glasgow or Green, and just make it policed. By the way, it can't be hard to do that. Or even Celtic should do it at Celtic Park or somewhere that the fans are going to be safe. It's all policed and everything. You can buy, even if you buy alcohol or food at that area, I don't see why they can't do it. But everything in Scotland's too easy to do, mate. And it's all a big hard effort to do things. No for me, mate. No for me.
Ryan's back garden, right after the game. 23 Ratlock Road, Mullen.
I'm selling hoots and all if you want.
If you stay at the end, we'll give you the postcode, I know.
You get a free nut nugget, mate, I know.
Free nut nugget. Aye. They're very Moorish. Sorry. Aye, as I said, what's everybody been up to? I mean, let's see the comments coming in with this one. Do you have a barbecue at the weekend? We at the game at the weekend. I tell you what, boys, being at Celtic Park on Saturday, for me, that's got to be one of the best days out at Celtic Park I've had in a long, long time. That weather was extreme. And where I sit in the stadium, I get the sun the whole game. It doesn't go away. the only time you get shelter from it is when you get inside at half time. For a wee cold shower, as I call it, because you go to hit the water taps in that toilet and you're washing your hands, man, it comes out spraying on you and it's freezing cold water. And that's it, by the way, that is the only time.
For a hot dog.
That's the only time you get to enjoy the cold water in Celtic Park, in my opinion, when the weather's like this. But it was well needed. And it was one of the ones as well. No, it wasn't one of the. It was one of these stand and hover at it, let the cold air try and hit you, throw as much of it on your face, dry yourself off, throw some of it in your hair, and just let yourself try and cool down. Because I'm really glad I was with my dad at the game on Saturday, and I'm really glad that I bought some sun cream, because my God, I wouldn't like to see the state of me, man, if I hadn't, like, after the game, because I was burning. So if you were at the game, let us know what you did before the game. Let us know if you enjoyed yourself. Let us know if you didn't enjoy yourself. Let us know if you went to John Shirley's house and learnt some new words. Let us know if you... let us know what you done at the weekend. And it'd be good to know. It's also good to know what you guys are up to as well. You get to know what we're up to. So, right, so on to the game. Before we get the first caller in of the night, I just want to say the game starts, and then obviously the only thing in the game for me Hibs done, Alan, was take the lead. I know they had a quick, like a kind of half chance prior to it. Great save with Casper. It's good to see him back, I know, by the way. But then they take the lead, and I'm not even going to talk about the defending. I more want to speak about our reaction. Because after that, Alan, we just firmly took control of the game. We got the ball down. Hattati and Engels, McGregor started picking up the ball in good areas, started moving the ball at speed, moving Hibs around. And then eventually, with Hibs playing that high press, mate, I knew they weren't going to be able to continue and they were going to get caught eventually. And that's what happened, obviously, with Nicholas Kuhn's equaliser, and then quickly followed up by Adam Ida's to put us in front.
No doubt about it. We're by far the better side. I don't think there's anybody would argue with that. Probably the word I'm thinking when you're watching that match was, well, we slightly wasteful. I think there was a number of kind of clear-cut chances we had that we could have taken the lead. We could have maybe kind of equalised quicker or won by more. I think I'm not want to get down on them too much, but you're looking at the main culprit was the goal scorer you've mentioned there that probably should have scored a hat-trick before he scored that goal.
Yeah, he had a few good chances, didn't he?
Aye, so it was still, I think it was a professional performance. It was a great reaction to go a goal down. I think we dominated possession without kind of absolutely being at our top level best. But it's still great. We're playing a team like Hibs that have been on a great run of form recently over the last number of months. We've already won the league, so there's maybe people out there saying, "Oh, they'll kind of pack the tools away, etc." But we still showed that we wanted to go out and kind of put a performance on and win that game. So I was impressed with the performance overall. I think if you touch upon the kind of goal we conceded, it wasn't the best. I think that's probably the nicest way you say it. I think the kind of catastrophe at errors, shall we say, with a couple of individuals. But you're spot on when you're saying about the reaction. I think that we come back into the game and we, apart from a couple of Hibs chances, we dominated the game pretty much for then. I probably would say before that, but yeah, you probably would have liked to see, I think we deserved to score maybe another few goals. We were playing.
Yeah.
There was some really good passages of play, some really good football that we've seen. So there's just a few things that probably you need to touch up, but that's us just kind of nitpicking at things. But when you look like you go 1-0 down against the team that are currently sitting third in the league, and you come back and win 3-1, and probably should have been more. I think that's a great day at the office.
Yeah, 100%. Ryan, obviously we'll get your thoughts. It is time indeed for our first call of this evening. And he looks as if he just the way he was when I met him on Saturday before the game. That is our man, Mr. Francis Lester. Good evening, mate.
Evening, boys. How are you?
Evening, mate. How are you? All right?
I'm all right, mate. How are you after that?
That fright you gave me outside the ground. Went to attack my curry sauce and chips.
No, I believe, by the way, he's got 2 tubs of chicken and curry. He wouldn't offer you a chip, man. Honest to God, it's frightening. But,
Salt and chili chicken.
Hey, well,
with curry sauce.
Salt and chili chicken. He never, by the way, he never bought it inside. He was eating it
I
outside.
didn't even wash it there at all.
I'm walking up to the ground and all I hear is, he's a chip.
But I
Anyway,
want to share it, pint of tenner. I want to share it either, Francis.
I said, no, you're in a health kick. You're not getting any.
Did you enjoy yourself on Saturday, mate?
Fantastic. I thought it was a great game Saturday. I thought it
brilliant.
was really well. Even for the start, I know they had to take the lead, but I thought we played some nice stuff even before they scored. You know what I mean? And it was, again, a stupid mistake for my old pal, grab you round the waist, trusty, you know. But I didn't have any worries about it.
Francis, was it between him and Anthony Ralston? Because it was one of the... See when you're playing fives with guys and you go, that was your man there, not wasn't it? That was yours. And the two of them had a wee kind of back and forth for it.
Two people, in my opinion, that shouldn't be in the back four of Celtic anyway. So, but that's another argument to have with folk. But I didn't have any doubts that we'd come back and beat them. I thought we were already playing some lovely football, but then you know what I mean. And the only reason we weren't maybe 2 or 3 up is because Adam was having another Ibrox performance in the first half. You know, Adam either. He just didn't want to put the ball in the net, did he?
He had a few chances. I mean,
he always ends up scoring one, you know what I mean? But he misses the easy chances and then takes the hardest chance. I don't get it. But there was a lot of people running about me saying, you know, he's not good enough. He's just no deadly enough for the chances we create. He should be banging 2 and 3 goals in a game. Especially the last couple of weeks, the chances he's had, you know what I mean? He's missing too many for me.
See, as much as he's missing chances, right? He's hit 20 goals this season. So
I know.
That's the thing as well. It's quite a decent return. And he's not played the amount of games that you would think he's a starter every week.
But a lot of the goals he scored, JP, when you look back, has been when we're 2 and 3 ahead, you know what I mean? He's scored a lot of the goals, you know. He's not really scored any crucial goals this season. I can't even
He scored
remember
a crucial goal at Ibrox for us last week.
I know, but I mean, that apart, you know what I mean?
But you know, say, Francis, as well, when you watch Adam Ida, right, in comparison to guys like maybe Edward and Kyogo and Maida, they tend to offer you a wee bit more in their overall game, whereas it's focused more on Adam Ida. It's just about him hitting the back of the net. So when he's not doing that as frequently, that's the only part of his game basically we see. There is other bits, but when you're saying the likes of Maida, he offers a lot more when he's kind of running, chasing down more than Adam Ida. So I think it's more focused on the part that he needs to score when he gets the opportunity. He's more of an old-fashioned kind of number 9 that's got to be in the areas. And when he's in the areas, he's doing well to get in the areas, but it definitely needs to, I think he needs to finish a lot more than he has been.
Well, Ryan, you're waiting to come in this wee man, so obviously I'll let you jump in and take a bit. I can hear your rosary beads bouncing away off your pocket there, so I'll get you in this, and obviously you can give your bits. My take quickly before you do come in, Ryan, is that, you know, everybody's getting. I'm going to be honest with you now. I mean, I love Ida. I think he gives us something really different, something that we've craved for a number of seasons now. Special level of physicality. I watched Rocky Bashiri. That's the first time I've ever seen that big guy be frightened. Wouldn't get near him. Would not get near him. Every time he'd have spun him and laid it off to either Atati, Engels. There was somebody always on the layoff for Ida. And at the other side, it was Maeda and Greg Taylor when he was coming forward. He would not get near him. Wouldn't he get near him? And that's what Ida brings. He brings that kind of focal point that Maeda and Kyogo don't, because they just don't have that stature and height. He causes issues in other ways that other players, he might not be the most silky or, you know, he's no Cristiano Ronaldo, but what he gives the team, in my opinion, is frightening. And his return this season is even more frightening, considering the amount of football that he's not played. But Ryan, obviously I'll let you in, you can give your thoughts.
Overall, like Alan says, I think fans said it as well, we played good football in parts of the game. It was professional. I didn't think we were, wow, Celtic or we were bad. It was professional performance. We got the job done to come back for 1-0 down, score 3 goals, could have been more. Pretty happy days, mate. I'm you know me, lads, I don't like losing goals, especially at Celtic Park, and when you lose goals like that, and that annoys me. Even when we're 5-0 up and we concede it, annoys me. I just don't like conceding goals. And I imagine Casper would be the same, because he obviously wants to keep clean sheets. Small things like that, listen, it's a bad mistake, but sometimes it happens in football. Listen, I'm not going to really criticise him too much. It's pure defending, but sometimes it happens. Do you go, do you stay? And listen, look, it's part for that. HIBS, part for the safe face Michael. Didn't really have much HIBS. I was surprised he played, to be fair. I thought it was pretty poor in the Sinisalo, but he's a number one, and I think I actually listened to a podcast today. It was Peter Cech was on Ben Foster's podcast, and he was talking about like the number 2 and number 1 and stuff. And he basically says goalies might not admit it, but see if you're a number 2 goalkeeper and you only play like the League Cup games or the odd friendly game, he says you don't feel important. You don't feel part of the team because it's just I've gave you a game because it's a League Cup game. He says number 2 still need to be involved. He says if they're not involved mentally they can go a wee bit, or he's only playing me because I'm the second goal. It's a League Cup. He says so. When he said that, it kind of reminded me a bit. Well, maybe Sinisalo might feel like that 2 or 3 games, and now you're back out, and he's done nothing wrong. But other side of it, Schmeichel's your number 1 goalkeeper, so he's always going to play when he's fit. But I found it strange about what he says about Sinisalo and his presser, about how like he's maybe played maybe shorter, low in terms of he's playing now when maybe he shouldn't be playing due to injury. He was expecting maybe going low in the summer. Don't get that. I don't understand why you would bring him in to be potentially number 1 behind Schmeichel, to then loan him out again, to bring somebody else back into the same job. If Scott Bain's, I've heard murmurs that Scott Bain might be leaving in the summer, and there's rumours about the links just on what I've seen about Aberdeen goalkeeper going to Celtic for the third choice. So then, yeah, again, next season, you bring him back, you need to do the same again. I don't get that. I don't get that. Maybe I'm missing something there, but to me, that seems strange to loan somebody out, to bring somebody to do the same job, to then put him back out again. I don't get that. And on Adamida, his goal scoring, see if you looked at his goal scoring, you think what a player you've got. You think goal scorer, goal machine. But like people think I'm crazy here, but I could score 20 tap-ins or 20 wee goals and look a player. But if my overall play is not up to scratch, then I'm not going to put it this way. See people look at his overall data when they sign him. I don't. I'm being honest, IP. I don't see him as a number 9 for Celtic longer term because his overall play is going to get better. I don't think he's physical enough. I don't think his mobility is good enough. But
His attitude and all, by the way.
But I can see he's got attributes. See if he gets Brendan coaches him. I think he's got everything to be a good striker. He's got everything. He's locker. He has got the stature. He's got a bit of pilferous about him. He has got a wee bit of speed when he runs.
The thing
He
is,
scores
Ryan, I
goals.
mean, he scores vital goals. And
Aye.
and he has done in his time. I mean,
No,
he came a year past January, and
I
over his
think-
time,
No,
by the way, he's the
aye.
main reason we won the double last season.
No, I get.
Kevin
Listen,
Van Veen scored 30 goals in the SPL, know what I mean? So
Listen, I'm not going to
Yeah,
sit
but
here
look
and
what you
Yeah, but
eyes
Kevin
think.
Van Veen, but it's like this. You mentioned that there, Alan, right? For me, that's the same as the Dessers argument. It's a non-starter.
We'll see.
Dessers
That's what I'm.
never scored.
I
This
wouldn't
is-
put him above Dessers.
Dessers has never scored a vital goal for Rangers, or a goal that wins a cup final, or a goal that wins a title.
He scored nearly 50 goals, but in 2.5 years for
Adamida
Rangers. So.
scores goals.
But
But how many
you
goals
can
has
back your
Adamida now
argument
got in his
because
2 seasons, Ryan?
I think
Dessers
six-
scores last
maybe
week.
32 or something, maybe.
Well, that's not
Dessers
bad
scored
considering he's
last
played
week.
less the time.
Mm.
So you've mentioned you mentioned 50 goals there, Dessers. Is that
It's roughly,
Adamida's
aye.
hit 30 odds, and he's been here less the
Oh,
time.
listen, I'm no, but
That's-
on.
So for me, the Dessers thing, I know, and this is what's annoying me. This lunatic fringe that's been created now, and they're trying to come up with this debate. Adamida scores goals that determine where trophies end up. Dessers doesn't he? There's the defined difference.
Adam Ida's no good enough. I just honestly, you look at players regarding Celtic's number 9, Celtic's front men over the last number of years that we've had, whether it be Gary Hooper, whether it be Lee Griffiths, whether it be Musa Dembele, Edward, Kyogo, Maida. You thought that's all the years. That's always been our strikers. And you look at Adam Ida in
All the
comparison
strikers
to
have
him.
scored
I'm
goals,
sorry.
though, Alan.
He's
But see,
nowhere, I'm sorry,
see,
he's nowhere
see the
near
only
that
thing
level.
for me,
The
Alan,
All
is
our
right.
strikers have scored goals.
That's
All
what
our
I'm going to
I
say,
strikers have
right?
know,
scored
but
goals.
he's nowhere near good enough.
Well,
See if
Ryan
Ryan
earlier this
Stay
season, talking about the 9 million price tag, right? For me, Ryan was an advocate of he's got to hit 20 goals or more.
100%. I said that and I stuck by it.
No,
He's done
no,
well.
he's
to
done
get,
that.
so
He's done that on Saturday.
when you look
There's
at
still
his
a couple
goal
of games to
scoring,
go.
Watch his play.
when you look at his goal scoring, you cannot criticise that whatsoever, because to score goals, I played the position myself. It's the hardest thing to do in football, to score goals. Now, people can say centre back's the harder position, or midfield, but for me, the hardest thing to do on the park is score goals, because
Yes.
they're worth their weight in gold and they win you trophy. So, in terms of that side, by the way, fair play, and he's paid his back in terms of goals, 100%. But I think this is just me, because I'm wanting I'm wanting him to be the main striker possible, right? I just feel that he's got to brush up his game if he's want to be the main striker, i.e. certain parts of his game. If he does that, JP, we've got a hell of a striker there, because he's got the attributes to do it. So I'm willing to give him another pre-season with Brendan, continue the way he's going, but if it's bulk up again or get quicker, whatever he's got to do to get coached, I think Brendan will make him better. So I think next year you might see more goals. But it's just a wee small things. But the one thing I will touch on, I'll let you talk about it, is I think somebody mentioned it.
I'm going to bring Francis back in the Adam Ida point here as well.
See, I don't know if Francis might talk about it as well, but see the offside situation. If it's Maeda and Ida, the two of them are really poor on Saturday. For me, it's laziness. It's nothing else. It's laziness. It's no been looking along the line. It's no been intelligent enough to know, right, if I'm quicker than the defender, step back a yard and go. I'm almost talking through, I know I didn't play at that level, but I was pretty quick and I was offside constantly, right? But I'm an amateur player. I'm not a professional. I'm not doing that day in, day out at that level. Intelligence level should be far better than what I'm at. Stay behind and then go. I get that if it's slightly offside, look, it happens, you can be a wee touch, but sometimes we're 3 and 4 yards offside. And for me at that level, that's not good enough. You've got to be sharp. Know that know where he's going to go, know his movements, know how quick he is. Right, I need to judge my line here. Step like that and then go. Don't go forward, back and go, because you're going to be offside with VR. But that's the only thing that annoyed me really on Saturday, was the offside, because like Aaron says, you've said, JP, we could have scored more goals. And Ida could have scored before that, so could Maeda if he were on the offside. And it's just, maybe I'm nitpicking at that. Aye, Toon as well. Aye. It's just that's just the only thing that annoyed me. It's the offside, and if you can't learn the offside rule or know a bit onside at this level, the new, then that for me that's crazy. Maybe I'm being harsh, lads, tell me, but that really annoyed me. Then constantly offside, because it stops the play, it stops momentum, and see you don't score that goal and Hibs go and score. If that's at Ibrox or in European football, that puts you in the back burner. So maybe I'm nitpicking, lads, let me know, but I just think that really annoyed me at the weekend.
Francis, let's get your thoughts.
No, I agree with Ryan. The people run about me, right, and it's not just you and it's not just me. There's too many people saying the same thing, JP, about Ida. And that offside thing was one of the points that kept coming up. I was like, why he keeps being he's offside all the time? Because for me, I don't think he's got the pace to play the way that Maeda plays, for instance. I don't think anybody's got the pace to play the way Maeda does. But as Ryan says, his timing's way off for me. And talking about the goals he scored, he's not prolific enough. All right, he's scoring a goal here and a goal in this game and a goal in that game, but he's missing 3 and 4 chances. All the previous strikers that you talk about there, Griffiths and Dembele, and they get 3 or 4 chances. They're scoring 2 and 3 goals. He's only getting 1 goal, and I just don't think he's prolific enough. I don't think he's got the pace. He might have the physicality, but for me, to be physical, you need to be there in the challenge. I mean, that one that we scored with, that big coloured boy, what's his name? That big dumpling that they've got. I think he's a dumpling. Big, what's his name?
Rocky, is it Rocky Bashiri?
Rocky Balboa. Aye. He nudged it. He bumped him right off the ball for the goal that we scored. I mean, he should be stronger than that. He should be putting he's not anticipating the challenge there for me. And he should be, because he's big enough to handle it, as he showed in other occasions. But that ball there broke lucky for us, because he barged him. He was that busy barging Ida off the ball that the ball broke to Kuhn, and Kuhn scored. So for me, he's definitely not. I think he's going to continue to probably still be there next season and the season after maybe, but I still think he's going. I don't think Brendan even believes that he's a first team player. I think he's getting played now because we've only got Maeda up front and we lost Kyogo. I honestly think we wouldn't be looking at these other strikers if Brendan thought he was the man, you know. And as many goals as he's scored, I'm not convinced with him at all. For me, he's no prolific enough. I just don't think he's got the pace. He might have the physicality, as I said, but it's just his timing's out. He gets a few goals, but no for me.
Especially, you could see in years gone past when you used to play 4-4-2, when you had the likes of Sutton and Larson, etc. You can compensate for a player not being as fast, but in modern day football now, when you're playing that one up front, you need more or less an all-round striker. For me, it's nowhere near that kind of quality, an all-round striker we're needing. Sorry to say, you want to support every Celtic player, and you want every Celtic player to succeed, but I think that's long enough that we've actually watched him with our own eyes. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. Is he up to the level that Celtic require in regards to what we've seen previously? I don't think by a long shot. I'm sorry to say that, lads.
Is a bit.
But is that no harsh to say that when he's won his trophies single-handedly?
He's no individually won his trophies.
Other
Other people could have
Well, he won his Scottish Cup. He won his Scottish Cup final last season.
But he
talk
did
about rebound as well, but yeah, it's clutching a wee bit in it.
Well, no, I think it's clutching the other way if you're saying he's no up to that, but he's.
It's because we've watched him for the best part of 18 months.
There's clear evidence there that he's done it, and therefore, so for me, it's a.
See, to be fair, lads, as well.
I think to be honest, a longevity of it. I think that you know, he scored a great goal.
To be fair, lads, we don't know what Brendan wants him, right?
Though.
So see, Brendan just wants him to score goals. He's doing his job. If that's all Brendan wants, so this is I'm only trying to be devil's advocate.
That's what he's paid to do, Grant.
If Brendan only wants him to be there, to be a nuisance, etc., to be a position to make sure he's in position to score goals, then he's probably doing his job right. He's probably doing what the man. We don't know what he's asked to do, but if it's just me personally, I'm wanting more off his all-round game. In terms of goal scoring, I can't criticise. To score 20 goals a season, in my opinion, for a second choice, like if you want to call him that, he's only played 4 or 5 90 minutes this season. Pretty good ratio, but in terms of maybe all-round play, maybe I'm nitpicking because I just want the perfect striker or.
Personally, I think the whole argument regarding Adam Ida's just splitting hairs all the time. I really do.
I think Francis has hit the nail on the head there about the high majority of Celtic fans that are watching these games week in, week out are not pleased and don't see that he's good enough. And you're talking about, I'd say about 90% of Celtic fans that you're seeing across the board, social media, people you're talking to, people in the stadium, etc. And they're all saying that he's not up to the standard. Now, all these people on the seeing things, it isn't just a few people that are saying this.
What does that mean, no up to the standard? Because there's evidence there that he's done it. So I might know what that means.
I don't believe there is evidence. I think there's wee bits and bobs, but you need to do that in a prolonged period. Apart from scoring a rebound in a Scottish Cup final and scored a double against Aston Villa. Really, what has he done since he's been a Celtic player?
So really? They would just decry him. In a big derby. Mate, you scored a rebound. That doesn't really count. Is that?
You can't just say one derby goal. How many? You look like the last.
Many derbies has he scored. I've lost count of many derbies now he scored in.
Not many.
I've lost count.
Goals in the derbies.
He must have about 4 goals against Rangers now, you know.
No.
Three.
I wasn't far. There you go. I wasn't far away.
Well, the two were halfway up with 3. But you look at Kyogo scored about 8 or 9.
JP, you've got your opinion. Everybody else has got their opinion. It's
no. Listen, that's totally fine. But my grievance there is when I hear the words of he's not good enough.
I never
Well,
said it.
you know,
I did.
no. It's been what I'm saying. It's when Celtic fans say that, then my come back to that as well. There's clear and obvious evidence that it just totally defies your argument there to say that. So
what I'm saying is we've seen all our strikers in the last number of years, year on year, and when you compare Adamida and the likes to the ones that I mentioned, regards to Hooper, Griffiths, Dembele, Edward, Kyogo, and Maida, that's the level that we've seen over the last decade, right? That's the level we've seen. That's the level we should strive towards getting to, and we should keep to that level. And for me, when you compare Adamida to all the players I've just mentioned, nowhere near the quality of them. I don't know if you would agree with that when you compare Adamida to all the players I mentioned there.
If you had them all
well,
on the
again,
line at the pomp, you wouldn't. Adamida wouldn't be in the top 5.
Right.
no, he
So,
probably
and
wouldn't in
that's
terms
what
of
I'm
his all-round ability. But if I mean, you could look at it in goal scoring terms, then he's certainly banging the doors. You know.
You start going out with him, JP.
By the way, it was Valentine's Day, believe it or not.
No, but to be fair, JPC in a massive positive note, he scored 20 goals, so I can't really criticise him too much because that's what I'm asking for. So, as much as I want his all-round play to be better, right? See if he's scoring a goal, every 2 games, and he's only playing 90 minutes. Whatever I think about his all-round play, he's still going to score and contribute. So I need to be happy with that. I cannot criticise that because if I'm me as a fan, if my striker's getting 20 goals. Actually, did say that was it Derby game or before that? I think it was the game before the Derby game. I did say that he wouldn't play, but if I'm him, I would be annoyed if I didn't play because of what I done at Tannadice. So when he came on, so he's got something, JP, to progress at the club, and the only manager, in my opinion, that's going to make him better right now is the manager we've got. And I think if he brushes up his all-round play and gets a bit sharper, holds it up a bit better, I think we've got a player there. Maybe it's just maybe I'm nitpicking him because I want my striker to be a bit better all round. But if we're going to score goals, and by the looks of it, I think he might play the rest of the season, right? But I'd imagine I'm going to sign something in the summer for 2 or 3 million, probably, depending on if Maeda goes, which I think could be a possibility if you get a big offer for him. So there's going to be competition again next year, and then he might go step up again. I mean, he get 25 goals next year to keep. And listen, I hope he does because he's got something there. He's got something. Whether or not it's going to be Celtic number 9, me personally, I don't think so. But I'm willing to sit here pre-season and next year when he hopefully scores in the playoff and gets you through the format to go right line, you were wrong. I want that. I want players to prove me wrong. Scales has done it in bits and bobs of games. Taylor's done it for a bit of the time as well. So I can only look at what I'm seeing all around. That scoring goals, brilliant. But there's not just him. Listen, we can say for every player about having faults. But as long as he's scoring goals, he's going to be part of Benny's team because if that's what he wants and he's paid to do score goals, he's always going to get game time because that's what he wants for striker. No matter what I think him all round, if he's scoring 20 goals a season, he'll hardly beat the team because he's scoring goals.
Yeah, right. Let's move on for the Adamida. Francis, obviously, before we need to let you go, were you surprised yourself to see Sinisalo drop out the side on Saturday to accommodate for Schmeichel, or did you just think that was a normal thing? It was going to happen anyway.
I think it was going to happen anyway. I think he wants to get Schmeichel fit for the cup because he said after the game that Sinisalo's going to play against Aberdeen on Wednesday. You know what I mean? So he was obviously putting him in for a fitness run, see how he got on. So he said that after the game, Sinisalo will be back in on Wednesday. So I think he's just wanting to give him a couple of games to get him back in the swing before the cup final. So, I mean, it might be unfair on Sinisalo because he's done okay, but at the end of the day, your number one's your number one. So whether he's done okay or not.
The right thing to do as well. I don't know if you've noticed early on in the game that Casper, it's usually unlike him, but there was a kind of stray pass that he put right out the park for a shy. So it's maybe a good thing to get him back in and just get him a wee run of maybe 1 or 2 games, etc. And that just gets him prepared for the cup final.
Again, because he was making a couple of blunders like that before he got injured. I know he started to get a wee bit slack before he got injured. If you remember, there was a couple of balls he knocked out a play a couple of times and put straight to the opposition players, and I was like, that's unlike him, you know. So maybe that, as I say, I think Brendan's just tried to get him back into the swing, get the feel of the ball again. And as he said, he's going to play Sinicello against Aberdeen. So, and then Schmeichel will probably be in for the Summer game and then the cup final. So,
okay. And finally, Francis, do you expect more changes than just the goalkeeper on Wednesday night against Aberdeen?
No, I think he'll still go with the main crux of the team. I think he wants to keep everybody on their toes for this cup final. I don't think he wants anybody sort of lagging out. I don't see many. I don't think Johnson and CCV will play again. I think they might play against St Mirren, but I don't think they'll play at Pittodrie, because Pittodrie's a hell of a place to go when they need the points. You know what I mean? And we're just up there probably to go through the motions. I think we'll still probably beat them because they're absolute garbage. Aberdeen, I think we'll do them again up there, but I don't see them putting out Johnson or CCV. So I think you'll see Trusty and Scales again, and Taylor will probably play again as well. I don't see any changes in the midfield because Hatate and McGregor were brilliant on Saturday, and I think you want to keep that continuing. And McGregor always wants to play anyway. He doesn't want to sit on the bench, does he? And I don't think Hatate does either, in fairness to him. He was man of the match for me on Saturday. Did he get man of the match, by the way?
Aye.
Did he? I never seen the TV because
I think he did. Aye.
So I thought he was excellent. So
well, Francis, thank you for coming on and having a wee chat with us.
Cheers, mate.
No bother, lads.
Cheers, Francis.
Right, take care.
Cheers, mate. Take care, mate.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Take care of you, mate. Hail.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
mate. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Cheers to Francis for his thoughts on Saturday's game. It was a 3-1 victory for the Hoops. If you've just joined us on this fine Monday evening, that was the first caller of the night. We'll just dive in, guys, and get the next one on the new as we do. As indeed, John M. Quite quickly, you nearly look like to be grand out of up. Where was your blunts?
Like me grand out of up.
Very shades of glasses, man. Look at that.
How we doing, lads? All right?
Not bad, but how are you, all
How
right?
you doing, John?
Yes, all right, yeah. So, how you've been arguing with one another? You've been giving it.
No, all good, mate. All
No, I
good.
just think this Adamida. Just this Adamida.
So, to be honest, John, I didn't think we'd be talking about it, so it's just happened. I didn't think we were going to be on it, but it's happened, didn't it? I thought it was all going to be all positives in Celtic, but
Yes,
no.
aye. Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, for me, Adam, he's just a typical lazy striker, like you would call
Scores
him. But no, for me, that's just the way I see it. He's a good football player, and he scores goals. I mean, he's proved that this season that he can score. He misses some easy chances as well, but who doesn't he in the modern day game? So, but no, I still think he's a good big striker. Maybe no to a lot of Celtic fans. He's a lot of Celtic fans will go, "Oh, nah, just don't fancy him. I don't like him." Blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. Everybody's got their own opinion of him, and but for me, he's just a typical from back in the 70s, like a lazy striker who wants to just stand in the box and tap the ball in, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
You can do a wee bit more than that. I'm
probably doing the boy an injustice, you know what I mean, saying that. But for me, what you boys will not remember the 70s, so that you used to get a lazy striker in the 70s, and he would just be there, put the ball away, sort of thing, you know, didn't want to do any work. Didn't want to run about, all that kind of stuff. But no, he does know that type of player. For me, he's still a young boy, but he's there and he's scoring the goals, and that's enough for me.
Lads, I don't think we're getting into this again. We'll get John's opinion. That's fine. We're moving on. We're definitely moving on. Overall, John, in terms of no, that's fine. That's totally fine. We're not going there again. No. But in terms of Saturday overall, you were there, obviously. Yeah. I mean, I said at the beginning earlier on tonight that I thought it was one of the best days I've had at Celtic Park for a long time in terms of the weather and some of the football Celtic played as well. Even going, as Alan said earlier, going to go down, but then the the professional level kicks in. And what I would say, I've always called it the business end of the season for a reason. When your big players come to the fore, guys like Engels, guys like McGregor, guys like Hatate, start getting a hold of the ball and start making things happen. Start dragging Hibs out of the position. And Hibs were playing with that high line. And I knew right away, and can I say to you at half-time on Saturday, the Hibs centre-backs, they're too big, bulky and too slow. They can't, with the speed that we possess in the final third, they're not going to be able to keep that going. Now, it happened before half-time, which I thought maybe they were going to get to half-time before it did happen. But I knew they were going to switch off eventually because they just don't have that. They don't have that awareness. They don't have that physical ability to keep that high momentum, because that high press and high line comes with a press. And when they're not able to press, and when they're not able to then get onto the Celtic men, Celtic started finding holes. And we kind of saw it before half-time. I didn't think it was going to happen until the second half. But what was your thoughts in terms of that?
I thought Celtic figured it out dead quick. You know what I mean? It should have been about 2 or 3 goals up before even Hibs scored. But there was a few chances there. But no, you're right. I mean, you're saying about the Hibs defence. I don't think they sort of figured out how Celtic was playing one way and then playing another and then entirely different. And I don't think they sussed it. You know what I mean? And they found it hard to cope with. Because the passing was sublime. It was just like bingo, bingo, bingo. You know what I mean? Here, there, every, and they were just all over the place. I mean, that's relevant in the 2 goals that we scored. You know what I mean? And 2 quick goals after they scored. So, but I don't think they were ever going to cope with it. To be honest, I don't think any team in there would have been able to cope with the way Celtic were playing. Just some great football. You know what I mean? And you've said it yourself. The business end of the season. You know what I mean? Go a goal down. Don't panic. Never panic. Just go a goal down. What's the best thing to do is just get it out of the park and score.
Yeah, I think that's what's so good about a Celtic side and how honest they are. You know, when it comes to this end of the season, mate, that's when this team show, you know, just how hungry they really are.
Aye, no, especially we looked upon maybe a few weeks ago or questioning the hunger of the likes of kind of Nicholas Coon. You look at the last couple of games he's played now. I thought he was relatively impressive at the weekend as well. So
He looks a lot better with that plaster on his eye, doesn't he?
So it shows that I think Brendan gave them a good kicking when the St Johnstone game. So you're looking back on that now, and there seems to be a turning point. By all means, the weekend wasn't perfect by any means, but I like the part that we're fighting back for 1-0 down. We're showing that professionalism. We're showing that even though we're going to go behind it, we've got the ability just to maintain the calmness and push on and kind of score 3 goals. So I really enjoyed the weekend there. Well, it's in my head. Just another wee shout out. You're looking at, I think the boy Ricardo. Congratulations on his appearance.
Yeah.
We only get a snippet to see him, but I thought on first instincts, by looking at him, I think he looks reasonably decent with the ball at his feet. So there'll be a lot of pressure and a lot of kind of nerves kicking about, but I think considering the circumstances, he handled himself pretty well, and that's always going to be a positive as well when you start. We've been speaking about it for a few years now, that you're looking at, has there really been enough players that have come through Lennoxtown? Has there been enough in the youth system that's made a proper impact in the first team?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, but so it gets a wee bit more exciting when you start seeing a few of the younger players. And for me, I know it was just a short appearance, but that'll bring the boys' confidence on, and hopefully we see a bit more of these young guys.
Yeah, Ryan, I think we've been advocates on here for many a podcast now about young lads and, you know, getting their opportunity. And Brendan spoke volumes just in his previous presser to the Hibs game. You know, he's not just going to throw these boys in. They're going to need to earn their stripes as such, and he's just not going to. He's not going to put them in willy-nilly. But as Alan says, a massive congrats to the young McArdle, because it's no easy, Ryan. You know, he's a young boy, and it's a lot of boys can get there and crump, especially against a decent side in the league like Hibs. I know you're winning. It's easy to come on. People say it's easy to come on. I don't think it's easy to come on to any game at Celtic Park. But that atmosphere, and especially the day it was as well, and then who you're replacing. You're coming on for Arnie Engels, Celtic's biggest signing. So that alone would have gave the boy butterflies itself. Even shaking hands with Engels, walking, he's like, I've just come on for him. And he's heed and everything. He's probably been no slept. He's probably became an insomniac at that thought. But I think it's just remarkable, mate, and shows you how hard some of these kids must be really working to have caught Brendan's eye.
I think he's been on the bench a few times the last few weeks. To get on the bench for Celtic's first team, you must be good. Either if it's your attitude, or if it's your training, or it is your ability as well. But there's, I don't know how many youth players there is, JP at Celtic. There might be, including the youngsters like below the B team. There could be 40 odds, 50 odds youth players at Celtic possibly on to maybe like from say 16 upwards, whatever there might be. Going about that, I could be well off that, but there'll be at least 20 players probably that are going about that age that could have been on the bench, and he's been on the bench. He's now made his debut. No matter what he does in his career, you can see he's made his debut for Celtic. Doesn't matter if it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 5 games, 50 games. You've still played with Celtic. He's done more than the majority of us have not done. So brilliant for the lad. Brendan did say that Sam had a bit of an opportunity. It's up to him now to sustain his levels. It's up to him now today. And listen, I'd imagine he's got good people around him, his family, and the club will obviously help him and with that as well. So listen, it's down to him now to knuckle down. Don't go the outside way and like social media and night suit and all that type. Just stay on. Go and try and make it now. Go and try and make it now, son. You've got a big opportunity to go and make it at the club now. You're good enough to make your debut. And like you say, JP, there's other guys you can phone in to play there. You've got other guys in the youth team. But I know Daniel Cummins isn't probably going to be here next year. But guys like that who are playing in the B team, go and play with the first team again. So, listen, it's up to the boy now, and Brendan, like Brendan says, if he ain't good enough, we'll play. But I did find it interesting, these comments about the game. The B team game, the final, that he basically says the two teams were pretty poor, the part was no good, and for me that's not a good sign for the B team. That's him telling you that if they're going to be here, it's going to be a big long spiral for them to develop and get games and get better. So
McArdle never played in the game, did he? Because he was with
I don't think so. That's right, mate. But for me, I thought it was pretty loud in what he says. He basically says that I don't think they're good enough right now to step in and play. Majority of them, that's what I read between the lines. So I don't know if they need to change. I don't know if Brendan will be looking at if it's a coaching, if it's what they're doing, whatever they need to do. Because I think ideally we want one player through a year, don't we? Roughly. For us to say that the youth system's working or the development's, the pathway's working. I know Brendan's right. There's a pathway here if you're good enough and you work hard enough and you're at a level to come in, there'll be a pathway for you.
Yeah.
So Brendan's right. It's down to you to do it. Obviously, a club will help you, but you've got to have the attitude and desire, hunger, everything that comes with to make it Celtic. But listen, brilliant for the wee boy to make his debut. I say wee, like I know he's wee, but I'm older than him. But in terms of professional athlete, he's an athlete now. That's him. He's in.
I just think it's funny you're calling MDB.
I know. But listen, he could get more game time on Wednesday. Who knows?
Even Barry Bannon calls you, man.
I know. I hope.
That's not me calling Morelos fat.
I hope he does get a game on Wednesday. If another 5-10 minutes, and he's at least on the bench, because I don't want these boys coming in, JP, getting a few minutes and then getting back out again. I know it might be a bit of, I don't want to say humbling, but what would you call it? Maybe like, this is what you can get, right? Back down again, go and work hard, keep going, you'll go in again. Maybe that type of thing. I don't know, in and out. But I'd like them to.
Ryan, sorry, but
know what I mean?
did you see the thing on PLZ Soccer recently? They were
I
chatting
certainly
about Celtic.
they might be starting
Celtic
the
are
B team.
actually they're taking the B team out the Lowland League now
Yeah.
after the season.
Mhm.
And basically what's going to happen is Celtic are going to, John, I'll obviously bring you in and get your thoughts on all this once I'm finished, but Celtic are going to like have a kind of partnership club within the Scottish Championship where they're going to loan their players to in order to try and develop the player. And they've also got one in Austria as well, Adama Waka, where a couple of the lads just now, Matthew Anderson, Ben Summers are over there just now. Apparently they've had good seasons. Which is good news for the club. I don't know what kind of level these boys are at. I like the look of the boy Summers. But John, obviously, bring you in that. There's big changes happening there. When you look at the first team, you've got the likes of Dane Murray. Okay, it's been a bit unfortunate for young Dane. He's now out with an injury. We'll not see him now to pre-season as Brendan's confirmed. Ryan's mentioned, the lads have mentioned the young boy Micardo. We've seen Jude Bonner. He came on against Aberdeen and Pittodrie the last time we were up there. So, the Aberdeen game at Celtic Park it was, before somebody corrects me in the comments, because I know you like to jump in when you can. But what's your thoughts in terms of the youth yourself, John? Do you think there's still a long way to go? Because, as we have said before, the first team squad is of a higher calibre.
Well, I mean, like say competing in Europe and stuff like that, they've always tried to buy like quality players, which is not giving these young boys a chance. You know what I mean? Because you're buying like strikers and you're buying defenders and they're all there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, in the youth system, all these boys are all there. So obviously, when you've got a manager like an elite manager like Brendan, he obviously doesn't see these boys walking right into the team. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he's introducing, like, say, we'll take a couple of them, bring them into the first team squad, get them some minutes, and let them get an insight to how it operates, how everything's done, blah blah blah, and sometimes that can be just too much for some of these young boys. They're all right where they are doing there. And maybe some of them are at the standard they're playing for teams like, Dunfermline and, away back down in the lower leagues. And it's a shame because I've said it for years, the youth in this country just don't get that chance anymore. Whereas we used to have a reserve league and back in the day, and having that reserve league, you got guys coming through all the time, guys like Charlie Nicholas and all that, you know what I mean, coming through that system that way. But that's not there anymore, do you know what I mean? And it's a shame. I feel sorry for a lot of these young boys because they just give up. They just give up on this. They give up on the career itself because they feel as though they're not getting anywhere, or they feel as though it's just never going to happen.
Plus, a lot of them, John, they think if they get released at Celtic, that's them finished, and it's no. You can go to other clubs.
Well, you look at some of the lads that have left us in the last couple of windows, like the Rocco Vata. Some of these boys, like Ben Doak, there's another prime example. Alan, obviously, some of these boys are also money motivated when you flip a coin. Because Celtic, unfortunately, because of where they are in their development, Celtic don't have the riches England and don't have the kind of finances that we can plough into that side of the academy just now because, like John and like Ryan have says, they're that busy trying to shape up the first team squad due to a long schedule, mate.
I think we've spoke about this kind of many times. Some of it can be financial, but I think the majority isn't. I think it's probably the setup, whether that be in Scotland or within Celtic, whether it be kind of going out loan, etc. But there's no as much, as John's mentioned, the reserve league, there's no as much as an opportunity now. There's no as much a pathway, shall we say, for the younger players to kind of to get that game time and that chance to show what they're capable of, that chance to kind of progress. So it's more difficult, and where the English kind of youth system's probably better set up. So you're looking at these kind of guys, whether it be that it's been Rocco Vata or Ben Doak, etc. These guys are good doing and probably playing more kind of a better level of football, shall we say, than they were kind of in the lower league is probably no fit for purpose. We've spoken about it many a times, but I think when you look back over like the times of Martin O'Neill and kind of Gordon Strachan, etc.
Yeah.
This was usually the time of the season where you did see a few kind of younger players come in. The times that we did kind of maybe win the league early on, you did see in the last kind of number of games there was a lot of rotation. I think the game on Wednesday will be the one you'll probably see a few of them, whether it be only kind of 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes, but I think you will get, whether it's McArdle again or Bonner, etc. if it's Sunday, but I think you will see maybe a couple of the younger players get that opportunity, and it's always
You mean
nice
Jude, didn't you? No, Pat.
Aye, you don't Pat. Aye, and Pat's lost his gloves somewhere.
Pat's nearly getting a phone call in case Scott Bain gets called.
Pat put his gloves down his goalpost, didn't he? He's lost them, I don't know where it is.
Aye, Pat's put his jumper down as a goalpost.
Aye, so, but I think you'll probably see a few changes during the week. But it's always nice to see some of the young players get that opportunity, because it's not been happening as regular as it should be. Whether that's because of the fact that they are not good enough, I think Ryan's kind of touched upon that Brendan's no seeing the quality maybe that we require. But we always we put quite a deal of finance into kind of Lennoxtown. That's running at a cost constantly, so we should be seeing some sort of benefit with it.
The new facility that we built down at London Road as well.
It should be opening soon, I think, as well, isn't it?
So
yeah, I think
we'll put a lot of finance into that, and at present, I know years gone past when you look at the likes of kind of Kieran Tierney, etc. But at present, the last kind of couple of years, has there many come through that we're going to benefit from, whether that be they get into the first team or we sell them on? It's not really been fruitful, shall we say, recently. So I know we've spoken about it a number of times, but I think that's somewhere that Celtic need to kind of brush up on, whether it be kind of the scouting or the system or where these kind of young kids are playing, etc. But it's clear to see just now that we're not getting the kind of the fruits of our labour through, and the finances through the youth system, and that's somewhere we should be looking to take advantage of.
Yeah, 100%. John, obviously we're going to let you go now, but before then, the Aberdeen game on Wednesday, do you see a lot of changes to the squad, as previously asked to Francis?
I don't. It's hard to say. It's hard to sort of think me Brendan's thinking, but I see maybe one or two changes. I think you like say he maybe bring Sinisalo. Well, Francis had already said that he said in his presser that Sinisalo was back in for Wednesday.
Yeah, he did. He said after the game that Sinisalo would play on Wednesday. So
if he's changing goalkeepers, then I don't see him changing the back four or anything like that. You know what I mean? For Saturday.
You don't?
No, well, I mean, Carter Vickers is still out and AJ's still out, so I don't see them playing until maybe the final or something like that. But it's hard to determine what Brendan's going to do, to be honest. You know, he's an argument. I mean, I kind of say to him, I try and double guess what he's going to do, and it just never works out. You know what I mean? So, but there could be changes. I'd like to see that boy Kenny get a. Is it John Kenny? Is it
Johnny Kenny? Yeah,
Johnny Kenny. Aye, I'd like to see that boy get a wee run out. You know what I mean? Maybe take Eid out or maybe even play the two of them. You know what I mean? But probably won't happen. But no, I don't see a lot of changes, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
Business end of the season, and get as many goals and get as many points between now and next trophy day. Trophy day next Saturday.
Saturday comes trophy day.
Yes, so I think they'll be wanting to get a victory up there, and maybe show Aberdeen what they're in for in the cup final. To be honest.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, isn't it, to kind of lay down that marker after obviously Aberdeen yesterday. You would like to think Celtic could go and put them to the sword. But John, thanks again for coming on a Monday night with us and giving us your thoughts.
Good talking to you,
Cheers,
boys.
John.
Thank you.
Take care,
Thank
mate.
you,
Cheers.
mate. Take
Take
care.
it easy.
See you later on.
Bye,
All the
mate.
best.
Bye-bye.
Well, help.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Cheers to John for his thoughts on the game at the weekend. I think that's a great debate, lads, in terms of the youth setup. I think we could actually do its own podcast, you know, just based on that. Basically on the youth and what's going on with the young lads as well. I think we could maybe even look into doing something like that over the close
summer.
season. Yeah, because I think it's a good chat. But there definitely is an array, Alan, Ryan. Obviously, there is there's a small bunch that have been hanging about for a wee while now. The lad, what's the boy? Is it Frank? What's the other boy?
Francis Tully.
Aye, Francis Tully. I was going to call him Frank Tully there. Francis Tully. He's been kind of there as well. You know, he's been mentioned on the bench, and then he's not, and then you've seen Jude Bonner emerge, and then this young lad McArdle. So there is a couple. I mean, Dane Murray. For me, lads, I think Dane Murray could be the next one we see, like Stephen Welsh. He could be the next one to come into the actual squad, be a squad
Say
player.
that about the poor boy.
No. Personally, for what I've seen of Dane Murray's night and day in terms of quality difference of Stephen Welsh for what I've seen of the two of them. And that's no diss on Stephen Welsh. He's just, for me, Stephen Welsh has never been able to get over that final hurdle to go to that next level for the team for the longevity. But Stephen Welsh, listen, he's played in a lot of games. He's played a lot of games for Celtic. Do I think he'll have a future with us? I don't know. Tony Ralston, he's the next one that you go back to, that you go, right, he's kind of been out on loan, he's came back. And I thought it was interesting, lads, I really did. Ryan, I'll come to you with this one first. With Brendan talking about boys that he's gave chances to. You remember Raheem Sterling, Dewsbury Hall, here's another great example. So he isn't frightened, Ryan, to Dewsbury Hall was 17 or something when he put him in that
17,
Leicester
18,
side, and then
the
the actual day after it, he loaned him out to one of the other clubs in England. So, as I said, it's something that Brendan is he's not alien to, and I don't think he would have an issue. I think more the issue would be, you look at Mikey Johnston. There's another one as well, full of promise, but then doesn't quite get to that next point where you need him to be ready to play matches. And when he did, it was just too late because he'd more lives than a cat at that point. But I really do think that there's a group there, Ryan, that possibly could be worked with. I mean, I seen a comment, I can't remember who it was in the comments there tonight saying, is the coaches really good? Is it jobs for the boys? We talk about coaches, Darren Day is getting shipped away to Swansea now because they obviously like the look of Darren, they've heard about Darren's work and obviously fancy that having Darren down there working with him. So Darren must be doing something and he's not wanting to do that go-between job anymore between the kind of B team and the first team. But Ryan, there is a number of players there, mate, that we could be looking at, moving into next season, especially pre-season, mate. You've got to be having an eye on them and going, right, who's next?
There's got to be, like I said previously, mate, for us to say that our development in terms of youth is working, we should be trying to have one or so a year through. I know it's a different culture, and it's a total different way of living and the way they coach, but you look at Barcelona with the wee boy Yamal, I say wee boy in terms of size and age, he's to me, but you wouldn't think the boy, I think he's played over 100 games for Barcelona, he's 17. That's phenomenal. And now I'm not saying that. I don't know, mate. I don't know that in terms of stats.
God, well, that'd have been even more professional if you had that stats
but
sitting there.
I do. Listen, I'm not saying that any of our boys are like that, but what I'm saying is, if you're good enough, you'll get a chance. If you're doing the right things, you'll get thrown in. So there's obviously nobody at the youth level that's shown Brendan that they're better than the boys he's got, or they're up to standard to play, even come in and play half an hour, 15, 20 minutes constantly. So, the thing with Darnold,
their B set up though, Ryan, is
that's what I'm saying. I totally get it. It's the culture and the way. I think I guarantee if you're under 8s or under 7s to the first team, it's all the same way of playing. But I'm sure don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, but I don't know if it's in Holland or if it's in Spain or some of these foreign countries. They don't care if you get beat at a young age. It's all about learning and development and learning your trade and your skills. And I do know in Holland they try you in oppositions to get to know what your best is and how you can play certain positions so you're versatile. So, but in terms of, I can get what people are saying for terms of jobs for the boys, right? I know people say that about John Kennedy, right? But John Kennedy, for me, is a terrific coach because every manager's basically bending and obviously and you try to take
Anne's trying to take him to
that,
Tottenham, didn't he?
that's what I'm saying. So Kennedy's been there for a while. Kennedy must be really good at what he's doing because if he wasn't, he wouldn't be here personally at the first team level. I do agree that maybe youth level, I do think we need a change of coaching in terms of if it's German coaches or Dutch coaches. I just feel it's a different brand of football, a different culture, a different message. I just feel that something maybe is going to change. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just maybe trying to think out of the box to change it because I don't think we're getting the best at influx through. There you go, 23 goals. Goals wise, it might not look great, but 23 goals at that age for Barcelona.
He's about 18 or something.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I mean. A lot of people look at that.
17, Alan.
Aye, JP.
16 when they played the
Euros.
A lot of people might look at that ratio, right?
Take
away his age, they might go, that's not a good ratio. But look at his age. For Barcelona, 17-year-old, that's so, like you say, JP,
especially a team that's been on, especially first team wise, they've been on a rebuild for quite a number
of seasons. If you're good enough, then you'll potentially get a game. So, I just hope there's maybe next season there's going to be an influx. Dane Murray could be another one. Me personally, I don't know what the situation is with Dane Murray. To play with Queen's Park and then play with Celtic every week or potentially every third week. He's got to up a few levels probably to do that. But listen, he could do it. He could have a good pre-season. He can come back for his injury really strong. And listen, if the manager gives him a chance to play as well, then he could play. Who knows?
Yeah. Ryan, as well, obviously, Alan, I'm going to bring you in this as well. Just for the way Brendan spoke about him. For me, Brendan doesn't do that. He doesn't just do that off the cuff. He's not one of the managers that's going to suck up your backside. He's one of the managers to get the praise for him. You need to earn it, and you need to do something right to earn that.
He's obviously done something, JP, or he's doing something or whatever to catch the manager's eye because he's spoken about it 2 or 3 times now. He says he was going to play against Rangers at Celtic Park, which I thought was. Maybe it's because I'm wanting to give the Rothsey a chance, but I just feel the way he's been treated has been a bit shady. Seems like a Bielka. But listen, I don't see him every day. I'm only looking for a fan's perspective. When I've seen them, have they done anything particularly wrong? No. Have they done everything spot on? Small bits. But listen, it's just maybe I'm just wanting guys a chance.
The tough wee man for you to see like a Bielka in Holland unless you're on your bike every day.
I know. But, well, it's the same as Adrian. No, it's the same as it's the same as Engels. Either dress up, and I want them to do well. I might criticise them for maybe doing things I want better, but I want every player to do well. I don't want to sit on a podcast or sit in the pub or sit in my house tone chats. Criticise. The last thing I want to do is call a player no good enough or you should be doing this better because I can't do it. So they're far better than me. It's just we can only see it on what we see in things. Yeah. So listen, I hope Dane Murray can come in and do well if he does in pre-season. And listen, I want every young player at Celtic to come in and get a career out of it. So we'll see how it goes in pre-season, mate, if any young player can come through. I think John, your dad might be right. There might be 1 or 2 changes at Aberdeen. I'd like to see Johnny Kenny start. I'd like to see McArdle play.
Oh man, you nearly called that night there, man. You said that there.
I'd like potentially if it's Mitchell Frame coming in and playing at left back, if it's just things like that. That's what I'm saying. So it's just
you don't kick the boot, but there's nothing. Usually you just go past. You've got ones that really come in and stamp their authority, and take a few games. That's
probably Maloney and McGeady just bounced straight into the team, didn't he?
What the concern may be is that the decision makers, because there's been more than a lot of rumours floating about that we're about to go out and spend between 5 and 9 million on somebody else's youth within Scotland, and a certain Lennon Miller. So it is that the decision makers that have got out scouts, etc., that's not picking up these players. We don't know. We don't know enough about the system and how it works and how these youth players are being developed. So we can only kind of hazard a guess at how it, what exactly is happening. But it is what it is. I think the outcome is that we'd like to see more players coming through that are good enough to kind of try and stamp a position in the team, try and get a lot more game time than we've been seeing, because if we're being realistic, over the last kind of few years minimum, they've not really been getting enough game time probably. There's no kind of an individual that's come through. Maybe Ben Doak was probably the last one you're going that he could, just before he left, he came through and he was getting some game time.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you're looking and thinking the amount of money that we're putting through the kind of youth system.
See what you said there, Alan. Sorry to cut you off, but you've just flashed something in my mind. You mentioned Ben Doak, right?
Mhm.
He put him in when there was rumours about Liverpool, right? So it was to show him this is what you can do. You're good enough to play in the derby. But why do it when there's rumours? Do it before that. Surely you notice it. Surely you notice the talent already before somebody has a link to you or there's people sniffing about. Then show them what it's all. But why don't you do it beforehand? Because that's maybe the only criticism I've got to that Ben Doak thing, was there was rumours about him potentially going to Liverpool, and then he starts playing him.
So that's the
Ryan, I
reason
get
why
what you're
I'm
saying there, right?
that's the
Sorry,
reason
lads,
why
I
I'm
get what you're saying in Ben
Mhm.
Doak. Sorry, Alan, I'll bring you back in a
Uh-huh.
second, mate. I get what you're saying there about Ben Doak's, but was that the season that we were trying to wrestle the title back as well? Was that the same
bet.
season?
That was under Ange,
Ange's
but
first season.
but if he's good enough, then play him. If he's
Aye,
playing well, play him.
Yeah.
I think that, see, we spoke about the, a lot of people say, oh, Vata got offered money to go down south or Cummins, etc. But I think more it's to do with the fact that there's no a clear and obvious route for them to kind of make it within Celtic. And I think what Ryan says here with Ben Doak, I think we probably panicked at the last minute. We knew that Liverpool were coming in and trying to kind of take Ben Doak away, and we've went, right, this is what we can give you. But by that time, maybe Ben Doak's decision was already made up. He's like, I've not got a clear, obvious route here to kind of progress within Celtic. I'm going to take my opportunity elsewhere. So I don't see it being as financial. I don't know. I'm not an expert in the field, so I don't know how we could develop our youth better and give them a better kind of a pathway, etc. But I think we can all agree at present it's not exactly working perfectly well just now.
No, I think that's why they're coming away for. I think one of the comments is bang on there. I mean, some of these boys are going out and they're not winning the game against civil service Strollers, but they're then asked to come and play against Hibs the following week. The gap between that's the Grand Canyon. It's night and day. On it, like Orko Vata was on the bench in a European game, and he'd get beat by Broomhill like the Saturday before it, and you're like, what? How is it? How is that a test of that boy? Because just if we're talking to it, we ended up with an injury, right? If we were playing final in the Champions League, you're having to bring him in with a wee bit of butterflies in your belly there, going, I don't know how this boy's going to react to this. And like I said earlier with the boy McArdle, you can either come in, sink or swim, and see a club like Celtic, in my opinion, unless you are good enough and you, the coaches and everybody that's worked with you and developed you know that you're at that level, and the fans have seen you more than once, to fling Mitchell Frame into that. I mean, Mitchell Frame's won more games in the Champions League than Brian Laudrup. What a start that was.
I know.
And you look at the career Brian Laudrup ended up having, and he played that. I mean, that was a huge gap. All right, the boy didn't
he done
crumble.
well.
He did do well. Again, that's probably the last time we've seen him as well.
You
know, and I didn't like that then either, in my opinion, because where's his kind of thank you for his wee bit of, I mean, we won the game that night, and he was part of that team.
Where's the progression from there? That's what
I mean as well.
Point.
I do understand that, and he's had a couple of injuries of what I heard, and he had to go through an operation, which is fair enough. But you're then looking at that and you're going, right, surely that doesn't decry your, it doesn't stop
But I think it's
your
happened with a few
ability.
different players as well, JP. Maybe not to that degree, but it's happened with a few players like the weekend that these players come in and then you don't see them again. Where's the next step? That's what I think we want to know. Where is the next step? Because it seems that you're just having a glimpse at certain young players and then next minute they're never to be seen again. So, as I say, I don't think we'll fully understand the kind of the system or the pathways of the youth system, but I think we can all agree at the minute that there's something there's a bit of improvement that's needed because we're not seeing the kind of fruits of the money we're putting in. I think that we can all agree on that.
Yeah, 100%. I do think it's a great topic, lads, and I do have the authority and word that William Glavin is he's going to get some numbers and stats, and I think he's told myself and Ryan that he's going to actually come on in the podcast that we do for this, and he's going to have a look at it and see where we can go. But it might be, who knows, it might go hand in hand because, like I say, it's on PLZ there. The word is that Celtic are bringing the boys out the Lowland League now, and then they're going to have a partnership with a championship side. Just say it's Queen's Park or Ayr. By the way, I'm not talking from an informed opinion there. I'm just giving examples of clubs because it just came right into my head straight away. If you look at the lad, Agberry, I know they never get through the playoffs, but overall, Bruni was very happy with him over the season for what he had, Lenny Agberry. So he's another young lad that's, similar to Bosun Lowell, like last year. He's going to be looking to come to pre-season and show Brendan what he's made of. And,
on what you're saying there, JP, sorry to cut in, mate.
I'm nearly done anyway.
No, it's when you've said that. It's, no, he's talking about maybe loaning out to Sinisal before he played, right? You've got Josh right? That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
There's links. There's just links. Again, it was, I think Steve McGivern put it up, so it must be true. There must be some sort of interaction between the clubs or between agents, whatever, that there was a link to Ross Doohan coming back to the first choice goal, like Scott Bain might. Right? Now, the boy Josh Clark, who's on loan to Celtic, I'm sure he's on loan to Ayr for Celtic. He's played most of the full season with Ayr. Why not bring him back? Why sign Aberdeen goalie when you've got a youth player who's just played competitive action all season for Ayr United? Why not bring him back and play with third choice?
But is Ross Doohan older than the boy Josh Clark?
I think Ross Doohan, I think he is. I think he is. Aye.
Is it mainly because Ross Doohan's now, he's more or less played a full season in the Premier League?
Obviously, no matter who we sign, if it is Doohan or it's another young goalie elsewhere, it's probably going to be to fill the Scottish quota for Europe, and maybe just in case who's good enough to. Obviously, listen, to play with Aberdeen, you're good enough to be Celtic's third choice goalie, right? You're good enough to probably come in and play against St Mirren and Hearts, etc. Right? But I'm just thinking, I know we're nearly finished, lads, but you can comment on this and we can end the show if that's what we're going to be doing. In terms of that, I just think, why not bring that boy up to be the third choice, develop with Casper and Sinisalo, instead of spending money. I know it might be a Bosman, I think the boys that are contract, the boy Doohan, it might be just spending another wage on him, because we don't know, again, listen, we don't know if United want to sign Josh Clark full time. I don't know that. I'm just saying, for our perspective, to develop players and get boys better that we brought up, why not keep him as a third choice? But again, listen, that boy might want to play football. That I'm just talking about for our end. I'd rather keep him as a third choice than sign somebody else and spend wages on somebody else.
It may be crazy, right? But it has happened in the past that you get two goalkeepers injured, and I know he's played the Championship, etc., and he's got some relative experience. But I think Brendan, or any kind of manager of that stature, would probably want somebody that's played at that level or a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
It's probably never going to happen that two goalkeepers get injured at the same time, but there is a chance that can happen, and that would probably be my thing. But I completely understand it, what you're saying, Ryan, with why not bring somebody in that could develop in youth, but playing devil's advocate, you're looking at what Brendan would want to do. I think if we two goalkeepers injured and say next year we're coming up against the likes of Barcelona, I think probably the experience somebody that's played with Aberdeen
I
for a
get
full
that.
season rather
I
than
get that.
United, probably.
Yeah, me comment there for Plunge. He's asking, is Bain leaving? Well, there's kind of
I thought
murmurs
he
about
left
it
about 3
now.
years ago.
There's kind of murmurs. There's kind of murmurs about it now. Plunge, yeah, I think the days are numbered for him now. And the Ross Doohan came about with Scott Bain going the other way. Ryan, is that right?
Well, that's what McGowan was saying.
Yeah, Stephen McGowan, he's put his name to that. So obviously,
He didn't exactly say it, but that's what he was roughly. That's what I've seen a few other things,
he was
articles about
implying
it.
that sort of thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've heard through the grapevine as well that Scott Bain will depart Celtic this summer.
I done the stadium tour last week, and I went into the trophy room, and there was a menu on the tap saying Scott Bain was here. So I don't know if that's just we send off, but we put benches all.
I do think in terms that if Scott Bain's want to play football again in terms of a lot, then I think he's probably going. Aye, he's probably getting a decent wage at Celtic. He's obviously still good enough to be a part of the squad in terms of training. He's obviously still got some ability, right? But to play with Celtic, probably no. I think if Scott Bain's want to continue to play football, listen, what is Scott Bain? Maybe 30, 31, roughly? Give or take.
I think he's in his 30s now, Ryan, yeah.
So I think if he's want to progress in any sort of career longer past Celtic, then I think he's probably want to go and play football, as if it is Aberdeen, Hibs, Dundee, or even a Championship. I think, listen, did we get a decent goalie for that level? Because to be training with Casper Schmeichel and training with Celtic, listen, he pick up those experience in that.
And for what we've seen, Sinasalo, because I thought that was brilliant, Ryan, as you mentioned, and I'm glad you highlighted it tonight in terms of, as Ryan says, Alan, about Brendan saying about Sinasalo, they didn't know whether they were going to loan him out at the end of the season and bring in another goalkeeper again. And I loved the way Brendan just went, well, that's in the bin now, as if that's gone now, considering what we know he's capable of. There's a wee comment there for Stephen McSkimming. It's coming in through Facebook. Stephen says, I wouldn't want to come to the hoops to sit on the bench. Stephen, I would more look at it as a squad game now, mate. The modern day football game has changed. I mean, you look at Celtic now. What are we now, lads? We must be nearly 60 games into the season for us. Yeah.
It's a good bit of game time, mate. Aye.
Like Scott Bain sitting there probably getting about 7-8 grand a week. Like, ooh, here comes the money.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. But the thing, I was sorry, Alan. I wasn't implying Scott Bain in that argument there. But as Stephen says, any sort of player. See, when you look at this argument that fans are saying that Kieran Tierney's coming back, so that means Greg Taylor wants to leave because he's not going to play. Well, that wouldn't be true, because I think Greg Taylor would still play quite a lot of the games. Greg Taylor's still a fantastic technician for Celtic. I thought he was outstanding again on Saturday. I've got this element of, anxiety about this, lads, because I feel, that saying that you don't know what you had till it's not there anymore.
I don't think off the face of the planet, aren't he?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think Jeffrey Sloop's going to with us, and personally, you look at Scott's comment there. The game sort of aye. But the game's changed now. It's not a case of he's my first choice and he's my second choice. It's he'll play and so will he, but it'll just be different games that they'll play in. Greg Taylor, by the way, if he stays on, he would still play games in Europe for Celtic. There's no doubt in my mind. He'll still get games in that kind of high caliber a game, and probably one or two of the derbies, and along with cup games. So this kind of, this, and I get what people, I get people are kind of stuck in their ways with that one. They always think he's the first choice, he's the second choice, and then there's a third choice. But I think you would play an honest amount of games where you're contributing in order, if Celtic, just say for talk's sake, we go and run riot again next season, lads, then you, as a player, you've got to be happy with that. Like say next season, Ryan, if Hatate moves on, and just say for talk's sake, that young McArdle gets his, he might play 15 games next season, mate. That big guy will be made up for the rest of his days if he gets 15 games in the hoops jersey next season.
I do get what Stephen's saying. If it is Ross Doohan you're talking about, Stephen, he's got to think about, do I stay at Aberdeen and try and be their number one, or do I go elsewhere and be number one, or do I maybe
Oh, sorry,
potentially...
right. I'm sorry. I want to apologise. The goalkeeper
don't-
he's talking about, right?
I don't know if it
Okay.
is. That's what I'm saying. If it is
Yeah, it's
Ross
because
Doohan...
he's talking about another keeper. So
Right. For me, Stephen, I can get what you're saying. If I'm Ross Doohan, listen, if it comes to, listen, I'm just saying, if it is somebody like Ross Doohan that comes to be the third choice, if Scott Bain goes, you're probably not going to play a lot. You might play 1 or 2 games a season, depending on injuries, right? Probably, right?
yeah,
Again, I could be wrong. Like Alan says, injuries happen. There could be 2 of them get injured in 1 week or in 1 game. Who knows? You might
your
get...
dad. By the way, your dad done this on this podcast, and Casper got injured. He better
I
not
know,
jinx
I
us,
know.
and we've got 2 goalies injured
Um,
next year.
he might get a wee bit of pay rise with Celtic if it comes Ross Doohan. Obviously he's better players. He might. I know. Aye. He might get
Playing
better.
Wednesday.
I know he's getting to an age now. Listen, he might get an age where he might progress, maybe playing with Casper and etc. So I get what Stephen's saying in terms of Ross Doohan would need to think about his career as well, because if he comes to Celtic, unless, listen, he could come in and be amazing at pre-season, he might be second choice, who knows, that's on his level, who knows, but he's got to think about his career as well, as much as money's a big thing now, financially, and set people up for life, and it's very hard to knock back a deal for money, because if you get one injury in your goose, look, Jota, I know he's no finished, but you get an injury like that you might come back and, or you're back injured again, be setbacks, you might not play, so, no, listen, he'll need to make a mind up if that is the case. But no, listen, I think it's in our podcast we can really delve into this, because I think it's a topic a lot of fans would, me personally, be interested in, to see the numbers of the youth and etc. So, but all in all good, lads, all good.
Yeah, listen, as I said, debates can go on and on. That's the bright thing about them, isn't it? We could chat for days about it. I've always said it, lads. Celtic are one of those things that, it's a topic that you never get tired of talking about. There's always something to something will come up, or Ryan mentions Mitchell Frame, and boy, God, I forgot all about that boy, because he's not been back in the team since that final game, really. So there is things that just pop up all the time. But listen, I think we've took up enough time with everybody that's been tuning in with us. Hope we've not bored you to tears by now. Do apologise if we have, but we've been on and on and on. We had Amida debates tonight, youth debates, goalkeeping debates. Alan's wanting Packy Boner back now. By the way, I reckon he's one of the type of players he'd be out for the team, a big fella. But no, all in all, listen, I think we could go on and on about it, and I think we've took enough time tonight. So what I will say is a very good evening to you all. I hope you have all enjoyed yourselves. We'll be back later in the week, probably Thursday morning now. We'll not got on before the Aberdeen game due to commitments, guys, so I do apologise for that. We'll probably be back live with you on Thursday morning. 3 of us, yeah? Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, 3 of us. Again, yeah, our big faces again, lovely. So enjoy your week, guys. The weather is to be absolutely glorious. If you're not working, if you're off on annual leave, whatever you're up to, enjoy your time doing that. I'm sure we will, up until we see you next, which will be Thursday. So for the time being, guys, cheers for the chat tonight. It's been really good chatting with yourselves, chatting with the callers as well.
All good, lads. Take care. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, everybody. Take it easy. We'll see you all again. Bye-bye.